Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone have Season 1 Reloaded this upcoming week, and with it come a handful of impactful changes and content additions, but perhaps the most fundamental in terms of content comes down to functional additions. Weaponry. So today I wanted to briefly run down with you everything we know about these upcoming weapons in Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone's Season 1 Reloaded update. So as we go along, drop your thoughts down below. If you enjoy the video, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to stay updated with all things Modern Warfare 3, Warzone, and other FPS content here, especially as we gear up for a new update here within the game. And finally, make sure to check out my friends over at G Fuel for up to 30% off your entire order with code Espresso. But more on that later. For now, let's dive into Modern Warfare 3's Season 1 Reloaded weapons. So to start, we know we have two additional weapons here upcoming within Modern Warfare 3 and Warzone Season 1 Reloaded. These including the HRM-9 and the Evolvere. Now, the HRM-9 is an SMG described as a light yet stable 9mm submachine gun for close quarters combat and putting down enemies quickly. Sporting a high rate of fire and excellent handling and mobility, the HRM-9 is the perfect fit for the aggressive run and gun playstyles. Aim down sights for precise fire, or enter tac stance and run circles around your enemies. Use Gunsmith to enhance the weapon's mid-range capabilities, improve its close quarters performance, or any combination of the two. Now, one thing that was confirmed here with this was that we're going to see this introduced as an armory unlock. So that was something that we talked about a couple of times because I had seen it in-game early while at Sledgehammer Studio pre-Season 1 and doing our capture session there with that for the stuff we brought you earlier in the season. So while it was something that we knew how this would come, we didn't have it confirmed up until this point for everybody to see. It was just kind of, hey, this is what I saw. Now, while I did not get to play this weapon because it was locked through that armory unlock challenge, I want to say it was like an 8 or 9 point streak for your unlock. Could be wrong on that one though, but it was just something that we didn't get enough playtime to actually unlock it and then rank it up and use. But it sounds like it'll be something that could be a close range demon weapon, something maybe to rival the Swarm, another weapon that has a high rate of fire and pretty good handling and mobility. But we'll have to see how that all breaks down in time. But that's the HRM-9. The Evolvere is a new LMG that is coming that has been described as an advanced multi-caliber LMG capable of firing 7.62 or 5.56 with minimal adjustments to the weapon. Versatile and exceptionally lethal in the right hands. Also described as this all-new light machine gun can take down both infantry and artillery, whichever chooses to cross its path. A wide variety of attachments are available via the Gunsmith, allowing you to tailor the Evolvere to any playstyle. Now, the difference here and what is new out of this description is the fact that it's detailed that it'll be a weekly challenge to unlock that base weapon. So similar to how we've seen in recent weeks the sort of aftermarket parts that came along in Season 1 for various number of weapons, this is now going to be a base unlock available in those weekly challenges. So it will be something that is available through those 5 challenges to complete, then you unlock it, but it'll be something that if you do not complete it within that Season 1 time frame, it'll just go back into the sort of armory and you can end up using a regular in-game unlock challenge, as we've seen with every weapon leading up until this point. I suppose that it could be thrown into the mix of the armory unlocks in Season 2, but I'm going to say fingers crossed that doesn't happen. I'd still much rather prefer just a simple challenge for an LMG unlock as we've seen in years prior, but for right now, know that it will be an unlock for weekly challenge, but then in the future, it'll be some challenge of some kind. It won't go away forever. Now, the Evolvere is an interesting one in particular because this is one that I think when we talk about where these weapons slot into the meta, I think the LMG is an option to be a very good weapon no matter what, because obviously the LMGs in the last year, especially in Warzone, have been pretty powerful, but having the ability to switch between 7.62 or 5.56 is an interesting twist for the Evolvere. I'm curious to see what those trade-offs will be when you equip 7.62, what kind of trade-offs are needed for that extra firepower that is naturally afforded by changing caliber. That will be interesting because if you look at the things like the MTZ 7.62, statistically, that is one of the best TTKs, top 3 to 5 depending on the situation in game because of that caliber and damage output. So when you put it into an LMG that will have a large number of rounds available per magazine, that might be something that does carve its own sort of, not necessarily niche, but maybe even its own stranglehold on the meta out here with this. So we'll see how that all works out. The HRM-9, I think, has the chance to be a close quarters shredder, depending on that rate of fire. It states that it has an impressive one, but usually with that kind of stuff, it's counterbalanced by recoil, or more than likely, with this, the damage range. I think this could be a contender in theory for maybe like the 5 to 10 meter range, but beyond that, if I'm taking an educated guess, you probably won't get as much out of it. So for me, as we mentioned, probably like a swarm comparison here with this. But as always with new weapons, probably my favorite thing to come along with this is the camo implications. One thing that I love about new weapons, no matter what's introduced, is that not only do they bring along 4 new camos for each, so 8 total within this update, but also the fact that they're transferable via category if you're working on any specific camo grind. So for a running tally, an LMG at preseason or launch with Attack Eradicator, that Ram 7, the XRK Stalker, and now the HRM 9 and the TAC Evolvere, as well as the Stormender if you want to include that in there, you'll be able to skip more weapons now in the grinds for whatever mastery camo you're going for. Now, the thing with mastery camos is that you still need to finish the base of the category of weapons. So you can't have like, okay, I want to do a marksman rifle, and in place of that, use the Evolvere. If you're going to get the sort of forged or zircon scale equivalents here for whatever weapon category you're in, you can't just do 3 of 4 or something like that. Instead, you have to complete that whole thing, but you also can, with a running total of weapons, skip entire categories if you have enough to skip them entirely, which with 5 additional weapons now in the mix, you can skip the entirety of the battle rifle category, shotguns, marksman rifles, sniper rifles, handguns, launchers, or melees, and sometimes a combination of the two. Now, I don't think that I'd skip half those because they're relatively easy for both of those grinds, but for me, if you're skipping the tedious ones, depending on that, maybe skip the launchers and melees, perhaps. For me and zombies with Borealis right now, I'm kind of debating on skipping the entirety of the sniper category since they're one of the last weapon categories I still have to do, and they're kind of annoying with mobility and bolt speeds. I'd skip the melees, but I already did those a while ago, so it's basically have the ability to skip the snipers or just the launchers the way my grind works out. So we'll see, but if you're a camo grinder, just know that you have even more options now to skip any weapons that you don't necessarily want to do beyond that. And the final thing that we'll talk about that was pointed out in the newest blog post was an image for the ranked play version of Modern Warfare 3 that shows off a new weapon that we haven't seen just yet, what appears to be the F2000, or as previously leaked before the game launched, the Anvil B. Now, this one, I wouldn't get my hopes up just yet. Don't expect this to be any sort of surprise launch, though it maybe would clarify why we have a classified tab of the Battle Pass, but a weapon found in the Armory system and in the Weekly Challenge system. Though I guess you could make the argument that the 5 challenges needed for the Weekly Challenge system could just be transferred to that Battle Pass, but maybe there's a chance we have one that is thrown in the mix here that is the Anvil B, but again, I'm not getting my hopes up for it. Previously, it's been leaked that this would be something that was a Season 2 launch and Battle Pass weapon, so that's what I'm more so thinking of this. If you saw that image and you saw the Anvil B or F2000, just know it's probably hinting towards something in the future here, something that does happen quite a bit. Regardless of when that comes, I'm certainly interested in seeing it because it was a fun one to play around with in Vanguard. I'd imagine it acts relatively similarly to what we had in Vanguard, but for the time being, again, that's a weapon that we saw with the most recent blog post, but not necessarily something that I'd get my hopes up for just yet. But anyways, that's the weapons here and everything you need to know about them and what they also bring along with it as, again, camo implications and such. So that's where we're going to wrap it up. Before we do, though, make sure to check out my friends over at G Fuel. Code Espresso can get up to 30% off your entire order. To me, as I've said before, G Fuel is my cup of coffee, gets my productivity started, gets the day going. But whether you want to grab a restock or pick something up for the very first time, you can grab favorite tubs like Hype Sauce, Pog Juice, or something even like a starter kit. Code Espresso can help you out and offer a nice discount year-round of anywhere from 20 to 30% off your entire order. So if you guys want to check that out, check the link in the description below, and of course, use code Espresso at checkout for that increased discount. But for now, that's going to wrap it up. Let me know your thoughts down below. Which weapon are you looking forward to the most? Do you hope to see the F2000 as a surprise introduction? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts down below. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare 3, Warzone, and of course, all things Season 1 Reloaded as we gear up for the update this upcoming week. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.